This meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for the City of Cleveland is now in session. Anyone that has business before this board, please come forward or speak up and you will be heard.
Okay, Ted, rather than say a prayer tonight, our attorney, Stanley Griffin, buried his mother today. She's a fine lady, y'all all know. So we'll have a moment of silence from this group. Thinking about you. Okay, visitor. Nan Sanders is our first visitor on Downtown Sculpture Garden update. Nan, if you want to come up front and educate us.
It's that time of the year again when we start planning for the new sculptures that will be coming in on August the 4th and 5th. Just to refresh your memories, of some of you may not be aware of how it happens. We have a crane that comes to Delta State and does the majority of the lifting and all for the heavy sculptures, and it will be here on August the 5th. Last and if that could happen again, if y'all still want to do this,
Yes, ma'am.
we can work with Dominique and make the arrangements and everything. The way that this plays out is we on a website, a software that handles our applications for the Sculpture Garden contest. That's, the second week of May to the end of May is kind of the time that we'll know what our options are, what possibilities exist, and we'll be able to make selections. Have to understand that we tried to choose the ones that Dominic, we had a couple, who else was it?
Michelle, I think.
Yeah.
Dominic
Okay.
and Michelle will represent.
We try to give you options, that you want and let you choose. But we found out last time that things happen. Sculptors call at the last minute and say, this piece just sold, I need to bring this other piece. So we have to stay kind of flexible, do the best we can. And then they get notified on June the 1st and will be coming to town in August. The arrangements that the city has agreed to before, you purchase, you may not remember, but you purchased these. So instead of getting 5 pieces, we'll be getting 4 unless you want to increase the number of sculptures. That's really totally up to y'all. That's a possibility, but not. I mean, I'm happy with the 5 if you are, and
The way they spread out and all, I think. Fine.
it's, of course, there's the opportunity to go farther down, have more pieces,
Right.
but I'm really not here to try to talk y'all into that. I think it's great the way to do, and it'll mean that we'll be getting 4 new pieces this year. The financial arrangements, Dominique, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the city agrees to pay $2,500 for each piece of sculpture.
Correct.
What that does is it covers the $2,000 stipend that we actually pay the artist. And it also gives us some money for all the expenses and things that come along with doing that weekend. The weekend is there, we have several things going on. We have expenses related to videos that we do. And I'm gonna, I don't know if you've seen this brochure. We'll be printing a new one when the new sculptures come in. thought that in case if you don't have one, this is for you to just look at. It's really good. I think it's wonderful. You know, it's wonderful for the town to do this, and I really appreciate the interest that y'all have had. Are there any questions that?
The committee, they'll state, was Michael Stanley on there before?
Yeah, I had 5 people that are the ones that do all the heavy lifting, really. Laura Howell, who's the executive director of the Lone Performing Arts Center, is on the committee. Meredith Tabb is on the committee, kind of as a advisor from the Delta State perspective, but she knows a lot about how things are done out there. The Sculpture Guard, we have a website designer that that is on the committee, who actually lives in Jackson. But then we have 2 people from the art department, Ron Taylor,
Yeah.
who is the former sculpture teacher and chair of the department. He's retired now, but he's been on our committee since the beginning in 2000. So we want him to stay on there as long as
He
can.
takes it to heart too.
And then Mike Stanley was chair of the art department and the sculpture professor recently. And really one of our I hated it. He and his wife went back to Vermont because her father died suddenly and she needed to go back. So he's gone to take his place, Lawson King, who is actually the sculptor that did the hand with the balloon, the sound fan, the little colorful. He in for Michael this semester, and then is working with us doing all the work that needs to be done. Does that answer
Yeah.
your question? We'll miss Michael a lot because he was very important. Are there any other questions?
Remind me which one we purchased. Was that the FCBS?
It's the Tabowski. It's a flower.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that one right there.
Do you plan on keeping that the same? We're not gonna ever move that. We'll keep it, or are you gonna relocate?
It's really up to y'all. I didn't plan to move, but if you're tired of it being there.
Just asking, I didn't know what the plans were.
I was gonna add that, since Danny is a downtown merchant, it might be good to let him, he's got to see them all every day, so. Be okay.
You know, what we're limited by is the pad and what the sculpture itself requires. And so I can't just say it could be moved anywhere. But I can say that we could, if necessary, pour a new pad if you wanted to move. But it's really.
The only thing that I see from time to time, my lights go out. That's just to get people reminded that we need to keep those lights.
And that's something that I need to be more diligent about noticing, I think. Because I've been told recently, I was asking about the lighting, they said it needs some.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
some
hard to know
lights are out.
everything.
On each one, on each sculpture?
Yes, the ground lights.
Okay.
Ground lights.
And they're so hard to maintain. We finally went to LED lighting at Del State for several reasons, but mostly because it takes lower voltage and was less likely to have issues in bulbs going out. But, you know, I'll be glad to look at that, but who should I, like, I think y'all did the
I
light.
think Danny ought to watch the lights, he's down here.
Just let me know.
I'll be glad. And
Okay.
look forward to working with you.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to, we have budget.
So we are good with
We're
4D
good to go.
sculptures and the $2,500.
Yes, ma'am, we budget.
Right. Dominique, I think, don't you split it and pay annually, or do we do I forget.
Yes, ma'am. I know in the past, Delta Arts Alliance requested, they would just send me an email when it was time for you guys to make that draw. So however you want to
Okay,
do it.
Lauren is now on the committee. She took Rory's place,
Okay.
so because she's executive director of the Delta Delta Arts. So either she or Laura Howell. will
Okay.
get in touch.
Yes, ma'am.
Nan, thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Nan.
You're welcome.
Please.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care of Big Mike.
Oh, no, I can't do that.
Who can?
Yeah,
He's a handful.
it's easier to keep lights on the sculpture.
And I'll tell you what, I'll leave some extras if
Okay.
anybody comes in.
You'll have it front
You know,
there.
so,
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Nan.
Okay.
Nan, do you have a lot of these?
I do have a lot of these.
You know, we're getting so much traffic at the Railroad Museum and, you know, with the chamber being downtown.
Yeah, and they
We
walk
try
around
to
looking.
keep places like that supplied, but we don't do a good job always. I know the Delta Arts Alliance needs some. We try to place them at the chamber and I'll check with the chamber.
Well, I mean, with American Queen coming here 2 and 3 times a month now, one of their stops is Railroad Museum.
Yeah,
is the reason why I said that.
Tourists
Okay,
here, so.
I'll be sure they get, I've got quite a few I need to use up before August.
Okay.
Good.
We can do that. Thank you, Nan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sheriff, you're next on the agenda. Park Commission.
Good evening, you all.
Good evening.
Not to address me as coach, and like Coach Prime time now.
Okay, okay.
I'm coach now, but I'm here. I probably spoke to some of you all. I'm very concerned about the way about the park commission. And my particular reason being is coaching in this league for 20 some years. My boys are coming back. I do this because I love to do it. And it's an outlet for me to teach young kids at an early age the basic fundamentals of baseball. That's why I don't go up and coach the older kids, because I don't have much patience with them anymore. So I tend to have a little more patience with the young and teaching the basics about baseball. So on Tuesday before last, we had the draft, and I was informed that we will not be playing any ball, any baseball at Angelo Park, and that the board had made that decision. So I told the park commissioner that I'm not gonna take that light, because I asked him the reason, and he said because of the shooting. And so I'm passionate about making sure that we try to do things to prevent crime in Baldwin County, but prevent crime. But when I was told that, I immediately thought about last year when the concern came up, and I was called and asked if we can do anything to prevent or work together with the city to prevent something from happening in the park. And I said, sure, I have no problem with it. So last year, nothing happened in our park.
Yeah, you said the board had made that decision.
That's what I was told. That's what I was told. And so I guess Patrick chime in on what he was told also. So that's what I was told. And so I was very concerned about the board making a decision like that. And if there was a concern about safety, well, then I was also told that 17 out of 18 coaches made the decision. So I don't know what's true and what's not true. But I know out of 17 out of 18 coaches, if that's many, if it's that many, I wasn't one of the ones that was told about the meeting or it was informed or even asked a question if we felt safe in playing baseball in Angelo Park. Coach Patrick wasn't notified. Coach Frank wasn't notified. So were we isolated and they made the decision without us is my concern. And so again, I'm not I coach my boys, but my boys is gone. I'm not a dad coach. So when a lot of these coaches, a lot of other coaches are gone, I might still be trying to coach. Just like Coach Flowers did. He did it for 40 some years because of love of the game. And so, and then the cheer, my passion is why I cheer. And so this is near and dear to my heart. And we really need to address this because last year we sat down and we talked with some of the members and some of the board members and attorneys. And we thought that as we move forward, that we would have more input from the coaches. But unless there's other input from other coaches, we haven't had a meeting or had nobody talk to us in reference to the park. You spend a lot of money in Amsterdam Park, getting that park to where it is. It's one of the nicest parks in the city of Cleveland. Yes, there have been issues with shooting, but I don't think we've had any issues with a shooting happening in our park. And so to spend that money and not play at that park, that facility, it bothers me, primarily because I live in that community. And so, yes, I heard the shooting, I've heard all that, but if the board, if y'all didn't make the decision, but if you trust me and my department working with the city of Cleveland and the chief of police, and we coming up with measures to prevent crime in this community, then why not trust us to sit down and talk and see if we can come up with a plan before you take this? Because if you don't play on something, if you don't use something, eventually it's going to deteriorate. It's just going to disappear. And some of the concerns that was told to us, and social media is rough. Buster knows that it can be rough on you. But one of the things that was concerned is that, Eastside Park, no activities going on over there. And so I'm just concerned that if you all had any influence on that, I'm concerned about why. And if the director made that decision without everybody sitting down at the table, then I think we need to revisit that. That's my concern, because transparency, no transparency about us, if we're being transparent, could have eliminated me even sitting here. I wouldn't even be here, I wouldn't. But it's near and dear to my heart, and I have a passion for our kids, and so I'm asking you all to let's try to get this fixed ASAP. The season's supposed to start next week, but the schedule came out and we kind of set back because I couldn't believe it. We kind of set back, and when we saw the schedule came out, and we saw that there was no games at that park. Then a lot of pointing fingers saying that, somebody saying dumb, somebody saying this, saying that made the decision. I don't care who made the decision. All I care about is us utilizing the field and every field that's afforded to us throughout this community. And then lastly, if we are saying that's a concern, and we're going to allow those who are doing criminal activity to control this community altogether, that bothers me, because like I always tell a lot of the guys, and I go in these days, places like that, or they act down in my neighborhood, I'm buying. I'm not going anywhere. You might be temporary, you might be renting, you might be this. I'm not going anywhere. So what I need, I'm not going to stop until you stop whatever activity that you're doing. So if we allow this to happen and we stop any activity from being over here on the at Amsterdam Park and on the east side of town, then they'll win. They're going to win. And so I'm really concerned, and I hope that you all will utilize every facility in this facility. I don't want to get in the name game and all that about who made the decision, who did this. All I know is that the schedule, and when I shared it with my parents, a lot of them were very concerned. I have a grandfather too, that they were very concerned about us not having any games. So we ask that you all, as the board, as a mayor, as city leaders, to consider all the parts here. Again, I won't rest if we don't utilize that. So I thank you all for hearing. It cause any confusion, but it did cause confusion.
Mayor, now,
Yeah.
can you all hear me? I hope I got a great reception.
Who's that, Robert?
Yes.
Yeah, Robert.
Okay, let me say this to Sheriff. Sheriff, to all of you all, and good evening. And I've had conversations with you. I've tried my very best to address this as intelligent as I can, but I understand what is transpired. I won't get in all that part. I'll let the mayor, we deal with that part of it. But every decision has come through that board you see sitting there before you. We have the authority to make those decisions together. But here the thing is, the thing is that the safety of those citizens is the biggest concern right now. I think, and I've told Sheriff this. I said, if we're gonna play games there and next door we've had some incidents to occur, then let's assure the citizens that we got authorities there to deal with situations during the peak hours those games are played. And that's been the biggest thing I've noticed thus far. It's the safety that they're concerned about. But we're not going to have our town to the point where, we play on one side of town and we play. Those kids are going to play wherever their heart desire. That's what we got those powers for. But we got to be rest assured that we're doing the things to keep our citizens safe. That's the concern. And I've asked him during the peak hours if he could to get some of his guys. We as a city, if we got some guys that's off duty, we can employ there. And that's what we do to make sure that everybody stays safe and we get through it together.
And to chime in on what he's saying, again, back to what I said, but the apartment complex right next door, if you'd have asked me this 8-9 years ago, I'd probably said no. No need us even mess around. But one incident that has happened at that complex in the last few years, major, as far as shooting and stuff like that. Everywhere you have the disturbances and things like that. I don't recall, and I left the data on my desk about an incident at that complex being open, and that happened at 10-11 o'clock at night. So I don't foresee it. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but if we put the resources together, I think we can do some preventive measures in making sure that our children, our family, and if it's a concern, I share with others that I practice over there, and there are blacks and whites all together practicing at that park with no security. There's none during the day. When we over there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, there's no security out. And we haven't had an incident like practicing. So, and generally, and the chief can chime in, generally, if there's a large group of crowd of people, a lot of times the criminal ain't gonna want to come and mingle and deal with everybody because of being caught. You got cameras and phones, and you got all this. So it'd be a large group of people there at the park, and we pray and hope that nothing happens. So that's an issue.
So would you have any men available for the game? Would you?
We would do our best to go. I've already talked to the chief deputy, and we'll do our best to patrol and go back and forth. If we get to the point we have to have somebody stationed there, then that's what we'll do. Our concern would be to make sure that nothing happens on that where the people are concerned at. And that would be the apartment complex, and increasing our patrol and making sure that there's nothing happening in that particular area there. We can't say nothing, no gunshot travel. They travel a long way. Because I'm sitting out in my gazebo and I hear it all night. It used to hear it all night. But thank God, the recent chief, but we ain't been hearing it as much as we had.
Let me say something. As the board member, I'm gonna say that I haven't heard of the board making a decision not to have games over there in Angelo Park. And I do agree that if the parks are available for children, I'm an advocate for children. So there is no reason, I don't see any reason, if you and the chief can collaborate and make sure that it's safe for our citizens, why they should not be over there in Angelo Park. We know incidents can happen anywhere. It can happen at Bear Pen Park, it can happen at Farmers Park. It just hasn't happened in those communities. But if working together, if you all have and ensuring that we have the security that we need or the patrolman or whatever is necessary, I don't see a reason why that the children shouldn't be able to participate in the sports that they love and the sports that they're gonna learn. We never know where they will go with that. And I will say thank you for being a part of their lives, because you did say your children are gone and they're grown. And a lot of times after our children are grown, we have no interest in helping other children. So I will commend you and anybody else that's doing that. So from my part, as a board member and speaking, I don't see why they should not play over the Angelo Park.
Patrick, do you have anything to add?
Sure.
Well, Kelvin, wait a minute. Kelvin, what you say?
The only thing that I have to add, and basically is something that Mr. Abraham at our last meeting, he said that I felt was very, and that was communication. That was the last. He was an advocate about communication. One thing he said was, make sure that next season, you're going to see where we came back. We got together as director and coach to make sure we don't the same.
Patrick, how many teams do you coach?
I have two teams.
I knew that. I was just making
Right,
sure.
five to 8, and I have a 9 and 10. And I've been coaching for the last 10 years. So that's when I started. So that's one thing I can truly say that has not happened. And I think the last meeting we had, as they stated, if we would have communication, we would not have been that many. So now it's another breakdown of communication. I went back to the heat. So I had to counsel practice with kids who wanted to practice today to be here. So at some point, if we love the kids, we got to make the best decision, not for the safety only, but now I have kids now that could be at practice that may be up and down the street, in activities that it should not be. A lot of times, that's their out. So for me, my dedication to the kids, I just feel like at some point we have to be real resilient and we have to solve the problem as a whole, because putting a band-aid on the problem, it's going to continue to, as soon as it's going to be affected, legs amputate, it's going to happen at some point, whether the chief, whether the sheriff, somebody needs to come to the shower. So I think that last year would have been solved some kind of way. Communication is key, as Mr. Van stated. We probably would not have been here. Something else, I directly asked Mr. Jason, because my thing has always been, you go directly to him. When we go, I asked him, I said, Jason, after the schedule, I say, we're not playing Arizona. I said, that feels what you dedicated to coaching and love the kids in the game for years. I say, Jason, did you make that decision not to play? He directly told me, no, not my decision. Some of these brains, that was directly what was told to me. He didn't tell me the book. He said, he's right. At that particular point. So at that point, for me, as a director of the chain of command, I went to him to ask him, because I need to understand on the front end, what is the procedure to make the decision? And I think Councilman woman stated that the board can. So for me, when I understand procedure, I know how to follow procedure. But if we don't know the rules of procedure that need to be followed, once again, that's another breakdown of communication. As a citizen and as coaches. Now, we understand that a lot of things that we address at the meetings for $40 an hour was concerned, is going to be great job to kind of explain how the breakdown and all that. In which today is not what we're looking for. We're looking just for togetherness, communication, which Mr. Danny stated that should have been done then. That's how we're looking. As far as the meeting of the coaches, I did hear that it was so many coaches that were asked or communicated with. But as the sheriff said, I know I wasn't called. I've been in Texas since the fall season of baseball about coaching. And we were short 2 players that, we can make decisions. So communication from that step about coaching, I've been. But my question, why is it that certain communication goes to certain coaches at certain times? That's not communication. So at this point now, that's all I have as far as that communication. And last season, it was illustrated that some parents were concerned about activities and shooting that was going on last season. So there was a concern. But to my understanding, Mr. Jason said games will still be played at end of the month. And if they do not play, there's a forfeit game. So he was getting pressure last year to stop that from parents that was not going to come and play. But he said, no, we're still going to play. So I'm confused as to last year, the schedule set, end of the season, things started happening. We followed it. So now we roll into a new season, and now we can't go over there. See, for me, that's confusion. So that's why I'm here to get clarity, make sure communication goes on, and most important, make sure we're not sitting around the table, because I'm sure you all can be doing a lot more important business than talking about why volunteer coaches did not communicate.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Okay, public hearings.
I did have a question.
Okay.
Kevin, how many games did we play out there last year?
I have a schedule right here.
What ages were they? We kept them.
Well, it's pretty much some small kids.
6 and 8.
We had some T-ball games out there.
They had the 5 and under.
500, 6 and 8. 6 and 8.
And I think the softball. But the age that because the field I coach, I was coaching 2 teams. Right? And the age I coached the big boy, we were playing on field really way too big. And the field we should have been playing on should have been one of the field that was more at the back. The field called Flowerhead, they was like the 8 and 9. And none of us, we didn't play a game over that age. And I wish we can go back to how it was. It's going on both sides and playing each other. But we all want to. It's not divided. It's a Cleveland part. I know west side, you say, west side and east side. Or we can't be together.
Yeah, we don't have 2 leagues anymore.
Yeah,
do we?
right. And we should
Okay. I mean, when I coached, we did. We had 2
Yeah.
leagues.
So what age are you saying that you'd like to play over there? What
the 8 and under and we used to
the older boy.
Yeah, the older boy, 11, 12.
11, 12.
But I don't think I think my age group of 9 and 10, we're only the field that we play is only there. But my 5 to 8, we can't.
And then they had the 8 and under playing on the field too, or the Bearpin Park. Well, if the ball get hit and it roll past a kid, it's like in the ball home run because the field's so big like that. You just need to go back to what we used to do. Everything was going great back in the day. It's still going great now. Communication and together. That's what we really need.
Okay.
And one more thing. Can we get football back over there?
I think we're gonna look at football and we have choir, which got so many different things, 75 acre
Yeah.
soccer field and the armory that's been
Oh,
given
okay.
to the city. And we're cleaning that up and if we can make some money, we're gonna, I think football's gonna be there.
Because, excuse me, one of our other problems is some of our parents, some of them don't help you, they sign their kids up. And they basically walk to the park. And we you'll be more kids signing up and they know they ain't got to worry about how they get across town. And the coach can't pack up his wheel and take everybody over. He can't help our kids on back of the truck. So we just try to do things to work out and help each other out.
That's the thing about when Coach Lowry used to keep. them
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
I can't do that. I can't get that 20 years ago.
Right.
40 years ago.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, public hearing.
1541 Garrison Avenue, Rosie and Eddie L. Henry. Rosemary Road, 3316-900, parcel 3500, W.B. Alexander et al. 603 South Chrisman, Stanley Carr. 201 North Street, Joe Holdings LP. 600 East Carpenter Street, W.B. Alexander. 504 North Bio Avenue, Joe Watford. 207 Ethel Street, Alberta M. Johnson. 204 Ethel Street, Lee Jefferson. 506 Charlie Capps Road, Contemporary Communications LLC. I'm gonna read this one, but this one's requesting a 30-day extension. 927 Charlie Capps Road is C&W Land Development, Inc. Keeping that in mind, I'll proceed. 118 Walker Street, Cynthia Fuentes. And 908 Church Street, Johnny Wentz. 303 North Bio, Shive Properties LLC. And finally, 13 North Street. Is anyone registered with us or appeared to contest? And I'm guessing that's the recommendation of the community development that will be on here. Owners requesting a 30-day extension. With that exception, passing that one for 30 days, it would be in order for you for motion second to adjudicate.
Hey, Danny,
Sir.
that one that's on Christmas there was Stanley Carr. He just wanted them to move their cars off that property. I think they were parking on that property, and we've asked them to move. So if we will, can we give an extension? Watch that real closely and making sure they're not parking back on the property. That's what that was.
Yes, sir. If you'll make the motion accepting that out, we can put that in the record.
I'll make the motion.
Rob made motion, Ted second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
What was the address on that one? Mr. Stanley?
604, I believe he said, was it that? 608. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Engineer.
Guys, I'll be brief. I know y'all have a copy of my report, and I'll hit a couple of the action items. First up, we took bids on the hay cutting for the wastewater treatment plant. Historically, there's a lot of different people who cut hay over there. Nobody's ever had a formal contract. We tried to clean all that up. So we took bids for the hay rights, and this is what the hay contractor is willing to pay the city of Cleveland to cut hay on there for this calendar year. We also made it real, you can read the whole scope of work. We made it real precise exactly when they needed to come in, how long they had to cut, so it didn't interfere with our operation. But we received two separate bids. I would recommend let's award to the highest bidder, which was roughly $15,000.
Where are those in the record? I guess
Are they on the engineering?
Under engineering, the second item.
John, did you say the highest bid? Did you say the highest bid or the lowest bid?
Right.
It's the
Yes, so
highest because they're gonna pay the city.
That's correct. This is, so historically, it's never been done like this. We're trying to kind of clean this up and make it more formal. So this is what he is willing to pay the city of Cleveland to cut hay at the treatment plant, which is like 478 acres.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept that high school.
Brian, Danny, all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
All right.
Who committed the highest bid?
Eddie Reynolds.
Yeah, and Eddie is he cut out there last year. He was the one who cutting. He came in late into last year. I think he cut it a couple times.
Josh, that's the one that we met with out there, right?
No, Danny, that was no.
Okay.
No, that was a different one. We took, if you remember last year, the hay wasn't cut or sprayed, and by mid-June, July, it cost the city a lot of money to get it cut and cleaned up. So we actually had to pay a hay guy to cut it last year for us. This year, we have a lot better quality grass. We already sprayed it. Hunter got it sprayed a couple of weeks ago. So now we're actually going to receive money off of it. So, and hopefully this bid should pay for all the spraying for the year. So we're pretty happy about that. All right. Next up, North Street. Recap on North Street. As y'all know, the North Street Drainage Project. We bid it out last summer. We had no bids due to material supply issues and contractor availability issues. We kicked it back out for bid in February. We received 2 bids. We're over budget. So we put a request back in through MEMA for a budget amendment for additional funds, similar to Fayette Davis pump station that we did. That's pending. However, MEMA suggested we go ahead and award the project. I said awarding the project has no impact on the receipt of funds as long as we don't start construction until we have an answer. So I'd recommend let's award it. We could use our drainage budget already approved to cover the underrun for now until we receive word back from MEMA.
this is substantially over our number though, isn't it?
300,000.
How we cover that?
We're going back to FEMA to
I
request.
understand. Once we award the contract, we lock in at 1, hire them, and 2, pay them.
Yes. Until we sign, we haven't signed the contract. That's just accepting the bid. So then we can go to MEMA and say, hey, we need more money.
How long can the bid be held before we require?
We're-
Yeah, see,
We're pretty much at the end. Yeah.
yes, sir. So here's the deal. If we're going to do the North Street project, we need to award it. All right, we're $300,000 over. We put a request in for FEMA for an additional $420,000 to make up some of the additional overrun that we started since we received the grant. The bid needs to be awarded or we will reject and we could consider re-advertising. However, it's going to go up. And to be honest, we're probably going to have a hard time finding a contractor if we go down that road.
You know, this thing has been put off for about 9 years.
And this is the
And
second
it is
bid.
a terrible flooding problem that needs to be fixed.
Josh, how much is the grant funds that you would lose if you didn't do that?
Hold on, I've got that. So currently, we have $456,000 from FEMA committed now. We requested an additional 440. You know, who knows with the request? However, I do know that the way these FEMA grants go, they're tied to disasters. A tornado in East Mississippi, whatever it is, they're tied to separate storm events. There is additional funds they've already checked in this MEMA disaster account. So I feel fairly confident with it, but you know, obviously you never know how all that's going to work out.
And this is the second bid, the second time we bid on it too.
At the end of 60 days, we don't have a binding contract we would sign.
I'm having a hard time hearing the.
Motion and second to accept them conditional upon receipt of funds from FEMA. I don't want you
Further
further out.
review, is it 400,000 we've got to come up with?
It's 300,000.
Exactly 3. So if we award the contract, he's got to order materials. It's a long time. There's still long lead times involved. His current timeline is he would be on this project late summer. So in 2 or 3 months, he'd be on the job. We would need to award it like a formal contract. He orders materials. I would recommend using our current approved drainage budget to cover the overrun until we hear back from MEMA. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, to be
I
honest,
mean,
this is our
we
number
need,
one
we need to
drainage.
do it. I mean, we had this project, I don't know, it was either 9 or 10 years ago. It was when, well, it was when Greg Korb was engineering and we let it fall. He let it fall through. We missed the grant.
Project about 400 or 500.
It was. I make a motion, we proceed.
Okay, motion by Gary, Danny second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I was asking, what was our budget now? But we already told
We would come up about 200,000 or 300,000 short right now, but we've got money in our drainage budget that we have not used. And I'm kind of like Josh, by the time this thing gets bid out, we'll be in budget session again.
We're having problems on.
Yes, ma'am.
In there. Okay.
Good job.
Wait a minute, Josh,
Yes,
I
sir.
know, you know, I see on here that the pump station on Fayette Davis, they're in their final punch list. But you know, that crew that's coming here from Atmos, that's Pyramid's, that's Pyramid Elementary's land over there, and they have destroyed that property.
Yes, sir.
So who is gonna, because I don't, you know, they're gonna blame it on the city because
Yeah, I talked to the school's maintenance guy the other day about that, and I gave him Atmos's contact to ensure that they were communicating on what all had to be done for acceptance. Let him know that when our contractor left that site, it was clean, it was regraded, all trash and nice. So we're gonna help. I told him we'd help work with them. We've been working a lot with Atmos on that project, it seems like lately.
they
We'll
have
ensure-
rutted it up ungodly.
Agreed.
Okay. That it, Josh?
Yes, sir. That's all I have.
Okay, Dan.
You have before you consent agenda that would need a motion in second.
So moved.
Gary, Brian, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Also in there, you have a packet on the Rosemary Road project that's approval of fair market value amount to be offered to landowners. Some of these will donate. We have another track in there that we may wish to discuss in executive session, but all of the tracks but one are should be there.
I've got to keep myself. I'm legal side. And compensate.
Just for their sign or the land?
I don't know.
That's all I saw, and there was a sign we had to replace.
Yeah, I think they want to look good.
So take everything but that.
Are these land prices falling within our construction budget out there?
Josh, we on budget?
The right of way acquisition is not in part of the grant. That was pulled out.
I think it was like
It's
40,000.
Yeah, it's a long story, but it's not part of the actual federal fund.
Okay.
Okay, so the question would be, Dominic, do we have one?
Right now we do, yes.
Okay. On the motion.
I make a motion, we accept the price. With the exception of well, you're gonna vote on this part,
Yeah, I vote yeah.
with the exception of the American Legion. Okay. American Legion.
Gary, Dan, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Now I make a motion that we accept the appraisal on American Legion.
Gary, Brian, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Come on back.
Hey,
So is that for the sign or that's just for the American?
he just used that as an opportunity to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah, we'll cover 2 and 3 with that.
Okay.
There is a packet in there for you to review. They've been working on it for some time, the contractor licensing board ordinance. The order, with the approving that. We wish some, you've got a chance to review it. They've spent quite a while on it.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to run that by
Oh,
me
there-
again.
It's an updated version of the contractor licensing board order.
You just added the, 10 mile
Mhm.
buffer zone, yeah, I make a motion to accept that.
Brian made a motion. Second, all in favor say
I see that now. Couldn't find it on my list.
Okay, unless you need me in executive, well, if you do an executive session, let me talk to you about this property acquisition. If you don't do an executive session, it's in your file and you can see it without doing it.
We'll do, since we've had this other conversation, my personnel for that.
Mayor,
Hey,
I'm sorry, I got cut off there for a minute. Is Billy still up?
he ain't come up yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
You
Thank
getting ahead of
God.
yourself, partner.
Yeah, look, I saw his face and I just apologize.
Okay, just hang on.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Charles, go ahead.
Good evening. Mayor, I don't have anything for planning commission or heritage update. We meet monthly. We just been approving minutes from previous months, but we hadn't had anything to come before you all, and you all have my monthly report unless y'all have anything for me. I don't have anything else.
Okay, Mr. Trotter, on the heritage, I got with Katie this morning, and some of the people that live in the downtown condo property had some window damage, and
Yes, sir.
I put those people in contact with Katie, so you and Katie need to get on the same page with these owners of the property.
Yes, sir. I get with her in the morning.
Hey, Billy, she already has, she's gonna tell you that it fits within the revised guideline.
Give
Okay.
Katie in the morning on the hair. Okay.
Bill, I do have one question. I just wanted to ask this to see how those property owners were, I used for an example, that old Wendy's building there on 61. Those property owners, can we send some to them? And Danny, you help me with this. To them, because we don't want our city looking the way it's looking with these trucks parked all over there, these businesses that's been vacated, and the big trucks just there, just making an eyesore. Like we just have a bad sight there.
Yes, sir. We'll send some correspondence to them. We usually tag those big trucks that's parked in vacant park lots or whatever. We usually put a tag on them if it's a vacant building. If it's a building that's occupied, we meet with the property owner and ask them to not allow the use of that. But yeah, well, we'll definitely send some correspondence to the owner. We put them on 211911 every year, so we have the addresses.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to ask that question, and we have ordinances, things on our books, but I mean, Walmart parking lot up there. We got people loitering in there. When I don't know what we can do with that situation. A lot of times management don't know. I mean, it's just a bad situation.
Got it, Billy?
So, thank you
Yes,
so much.
Got it.
All right. Anna, Railroad Museum.
How are y'all doing?
Good, thank you.
You have my report. If unless you need something from me, I'm good.
Questions of Anna?
Good job.
Doing a good job. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Buster?
Same thing, y'all have my report, if you have anything for me, I just have one item.
Oh. Go ahead. Brian?
Buster, I've been getting about several complaints about traffic up and down College Street. Going out to Fairfield, I guess, keep the ball season. Most people running stop signs and going excessively fast. Stuff, guys, I appreciate it.
They get you for a rolling stop out there.
How you doing with the hiring process? I knew you were picking up some people here recently. Good. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Greg?
I don't have anything else. If you have my report in front of you,
Okay.
I'll answer any questions.
You're doing a mighty good job wearing a couple of hats. Fine. Okay,
Thank you.
Jamie, animal shelter.
You'll have my monthly report. If y'all have any questions for me, though, I'll be glad to answer them.
Question? Waiting for the open house, for the dedication.
We're ready for everything to be done for sure.
I know you are, Paul. Okay, Hunter?
Y'all have my report. If y'all have any questions, I don't have any.
Okay, question, Hunter? Also doing a great job. All right, Steve-O?
Good afternoon, y'all.
Hey,
I don't have anything outside my monthly report unless y'all got something for me.
Yeah, Steve, I do have one thing.
Yes, sir.
I noticed real quickly, I know you send those outages out every month,
Yes, sir.
making us aware. But what we're noticing is that we're getting that same information as repeated, Stephen. We want to know what can we do to help you, because apparently we just getting that same report, but there's no solution to it.
We called energy, and I mean, like, we just get put on the back burner, I guess. The list went down a little bit this month, but like I said, it's gonna be back up again from the storm being out, come through Wednesday.
Okay, I just want to let you,
Yes, sir.
whatever we can do to help you, that's all.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Steve, thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
for addressing the issue on North Street.
Yes,
Were you
ma'am.
able to get that sewers or that drainage, whatever is going on, were you able to get that fixed?
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to echo those exact sentiments. Thank you so much, Steve, for all you're doing.
No problem.
Thank you.
And Miss Zena, we got that sign up. We just got to get it put back up tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I
No
appreciate
problem.
it.
I just want to thank your department, whoever else worked after that storm hitting our road, on the floor, Oliver, Human, just incredible work done. I just want to publicly thank you and everyone that worked. Should wrap over the other department,
Yes.
but it made a huge difference.
It did, energy. Go ahead.
And all the utility companies certainly chipped in. I mean, it was a coordinated effort. We had a lot of damage, a lot of people with risk.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Energy called me and said, your folks are so eager to get everything done. We need to let them slow down a little so we make sure they won't electrocute themselves. To say these guys on the ball is gonna be a big understatement. Okay, Clint.
Good evening, Mayor. I don't have anything else to add unless someone has questions.
Questions, Clint?
That's amazing.
Okay, Jason.
I don't have anything outside my monthly report unless y'all have something for me.
All right, Dominique.
Yes, so I just have one item where I'm requesting you guys approval. So we're looking to radically update the way we go about our budgeting process for the city. And so we were approached by the software company that would allow us to do that. Essentially, we would get rid of our spreadsheets and we would use this software to budget operationally our capital projects and also for personnel. And so Michelle and I have done multiple demos. We've called probably 8 to 10 cities that have already used the solution. And so we would like to go ahead and make this transition to using a budgeting software, which would allow us to forecast. It would allow us to do a lot of cool things. And I think it would streamline the process for our department heads. And also it would radically change what our citizens see as far as our budget is concerned. So it will graphically represent our budget. A lot of people get lost in the numbers, and this will be something that would present our budget totally differently. So I'm asking for approval for the purchase of this software.
So move.
Well, it's been free. I guess you've just been paying our salaries. We've been using Excel spreadsheets, Michelle and I, which have been fine. You know, I mean, we're accountants by trade, so we're used to that. But lo and behold, there have been errors in the past, and yeah, I think it's
21st century.
yeah.
It'll make it easy for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the main thing, and this is, did we vote yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Just went second, all in favor, say aye.
Ah, Yeah, the main thing I like about it, and Dominique and I have had this conversation probably since the day she started here. We've never done any long range planning, and I'm really concerned about where we're going with our bond money and our tax structure and everything. And this is going to give us the ability for the first time to do that.
Yeah, so just plans.
It'll make it easy to visualize it too.
Our budget time will be cut down considerably. We'll be doing chunks.
with at one time. So thank y'all. I
you.
appreciate it.
Both of y'all, Michelle's a good part of that.
Absolutely. So that's
Okay. Heather,
Good evening, everyone. Only thing I have tonight is the employee action recommendation. I have 4 items on that, unless you guys have any questions. If you do, we can go into executive session with those.
I make a motion.
Make the motion.
Robert made the motion.
Second.
Gary second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Thank you, guys. I won't need anything in executive session.
Robert, oh, you got something to say?
Mayor, I just want to say it real quick. But first of all, let me say it to my good friend Danny sitting there beside you and let him know that my family and I and all of us around that table offer our condolences to you, Dan. Also, too, we are about trying to wrap up things down here in Jackson. I tell you what, we're going back in at 7:30. It's been a long day, long process, but I just hope the outcome is great. So, I'll keep you guys posted. Once again, we just thankful for what we are going to try and get, and hopefully we will get it. So that's about it, Mayor. And let me ask this one question, Mayor. Are we planning on going back face to face? Or I know our department heads, I would love to see them back. We don't have the public back, see.
We're face to face right now, Robert. I mean, the board vote on our first meeting, but our second meeting will probably be Zoom for a little more.
Okay, wonderful. I guess I got to get back in the arena then. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
I've already spoken about thanking
Nothing other than I just appreciate the togetherness that we have on the board and what we're doing for our citizens. And Chief, thank you for you being continuing to be vigilant and keeping us informed of what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very concerned about our cemetery down there at West Lawn Cemetery down there on Mullen Road down there. What it is, the entry gate, both entry gates. The gate is not being closed. And I'm just afraid we have people riding through it all the time, and they might start vandalizing some of the markers and things that we have out there. So I think at one time we had it so that somebody was opening the gate and closing the gate at a certain time. So
Is it staying open all the
it's
time?
staying open all the time.
Would you give a binky on that?
And probably, some of the other cemeteries probably so too. So I just wanted to mention that, and hopefully, we can correct that.
Yeah.
I asked you the other day, and we never got back together. What was there a solution on the limb problem? Did you?
Yes, we had 2 more trucks here Saturday. They're getting another truck. We have chipped in. We just wanted to make a point to them, and I think we did. Don't think we're making a habit out of this. This event that we had made us come to attention, but we're going to have more trucks here. It won't be just Wednesday. At some point, we've got to get out what the real requirements are, because we want a Cadillac and we're paying for a Chevrolet on the limb pickup and all. But I think we've got this one in hand right now. Would you add to that?
Yeah, we definitely got to get out information. The main issue that Arrow is having is, people know to cut the limbs within 5 feet, but the issue is that they're putting them all together. And so essentially it's one big pile of it. And snakes and they don't have a picker truck. I mean, these guys are picking them up by hand. So we want people to know, if you could bundle them or pile them in little piles, then they'll get them. And so remember, and also on the back of the little door tag, and we're going to put this on Facebook, put it in the paper again. There's a door tag that you'll get if you're not compliant, and it'll have a reason on the back check. One is if you have a pile greater than 5 cubic yards. And I'm like, what is a cubic yard? Right. So the way it was explained to me, the back of each of our garbage trucks is a trough, and that trough is 2.5 cubic yards. So they will fill that up twice at each residence and then move
But
forward.
at least half of for a lot of people.
Hey, Dominique.
Yes.
I had one question. It was brought to my attention. Let me just ask this since you're on that subject. When they dump those trash cans, people are saying that they trash cans was inside the yard when they picked it up, but when they finish, they leave them on the side of the street. Now, if a car comes through there and hit one of those trash cans that's out there, they want to know who's going to be held accountable for that.
Well, you know, we have people that complain on both sides of that. We have people that don't want it on their grass, and we have people that do not want it on. You know what I mean? It goes both ways.
Their residential pickup has been, in my mind, absolutely flawed. They go from 15 calls a day to I've had one in 6 months.
Oh, it's awesome. I totally agree. It's awesome.
I have a question. And it doesn't, it's about, do we have any opportunity for this event to fall under FEMA, get some sort of financial help?
We'll have to ask. Yeah, if they've declared a disaster.
Yeah.
Now,
The
the
governor-
mayor immediately pulled the trigger and we got that posted, but it's gonna be.
It's gonna be, somebody's gonna have, I would think, talk to the governor. I'm sure, Mayor, you had communication.
I talked to them about that today.
If the clerk, whoever.
I probably need to get, what's the guy, purchasing that, Michael Lamb. He'll have to give some type of
He
report.
has to do a report.
That's correct.
And then we have to send that to the governor through NEMA.
Public assistance request.
I'll get with Michael.
We got left out last year.
Yeah.
That terrible event we did.
And I think
Yeah.
last year was a lot
worse.
That's for person. I may be wrong.
But I can just see it costs a lot of money.
Over $200,000.
Cities.
$400,000.
All that way.
Yeah.
I'll get with Michael.
But with the limbs, we're just asking folks to be patient. You know, there's only so many cubic yards that those trucks can handle, but Public Works, we are supplementing.
Steve Rowe and I talked, and we're gonna be right on it tomorrow.
And remember, limb pickup is just on Wednesdays. So it's gonna take some time. But just
And I don't think it's widespread.
is they, you know, last year, you know, the contractor got behind, our garbage contractor, and then the storm happened and it just compounded that. But if y'all can send them my way, people have questions, but go by, ride by, look at the pile. But if they can at least break it down, that helps.
You said small piles.
Small piles, yeah,
That you can put your arm.
that you can put your arms around.
Right.
And remember too, I think the width can't be more than, I believe, 8 inches. And so you have to even be careful with the big trunks. They're trying to get them, they're trying to do the best that they can. The other thing too is if a contractor cuts the limbs, that contractor is supposed to take them off. But what happens is, you know, they get a contractor and the contractor says, yeah, I'll cut them down for $250 and leave them there. And then they can't get them back to pick them up. So
Then they got my number.
yeah. So if you hire a contractor, make sure that they haul them off as well.
I'm not done.
You're not done?
I ain't done.
Come on, here it is.
Now, I want to reinforce what Robert said. You know, one of the things that reduces crime is cleanliness. We have got to, you know, we almost have to get hard nosed about making people clean up their property. Because when you have trash, when you let buildings run down like that Wendy's building is running down, I mean, it just fosters
Well, that's
crime.
been our calling card. Is people come to this town and say it's clean. Well, it's a lot of places not clean in this town.
I have one more thing, and this is it's kind of funny, but it ain't. You know, we have these contractors come to town, like the folks working for Atmos right now, and they bring a porta potty with them. You think they could keep it around their equipment instead of putting it on the street?
In your yard.
I had somebody at church Sunday ask me, did y'all have to put a porta potty across the street in my house? It's been sitting there for 6 weeks. You know, I don't know who deals with these contractors, and I don't know if Josh or anybody's on this call, but these folks don't care.
I don't think that.
I don't, you know, people ask me and they don't, talking communications earlier tonight. These people coming in tearing up all the right of ways and stuff. They don't communicate very well.
Well,
Let me ask this question, are they not required to get our permission to work on our right of way?
and that's the point I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make.
What's that?
Are they not required to get our permission, consent to work on our right of way?
Supposed to.
Hey, can I make
So
a,
what they need to either go through
Josh, on the-
Josh, are you on?
yes, sir. So we do have a utility permit requirement for all contractors working with inside the city Cleveland right away. It is a chore just to find the guys because it seems like if the utility companies can get around getting a permit, they try to. So I think our office keeps up with the permits. However, I do think we could beef up the language in there to put some of these specifics and then loop in community development to make them follow up with it, to ensure that they are, properly putting porta potties in, good
Yeah, I
locations
think-
and picking them up.
Please, you and Billy try to get
Yes,
together and let's do that immediately.
I
They're tearing
remember,
that down.
Mayor, I remember at one point, Greenwood City Council was on TV and everything, and I would watch that. And they would have their engineer of public works present a request for ceasefire of one of the major companies
It doesn't happen.
to get permission to start work on the right of way of the city. And they would say they comply with all requirements. So can we get some investigation, maybe call Greenwood, call some others, see? Because it's a wreck.
They're tearing up stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and walking away.
I'll take ceasefire, for example, they came in and we're hooking onto their fiber up on our street. They brought a contractor in 4 hours to get it cleaned up, put hay down, everything's neat, no problem. But then you want some of these others, and they leave holes for months, a year, dangerous stuff. One over by the Baptist church, they finally hired the problems, I think. And all over, I don't know.
They had Davis, they tearing everything up down.
Big hole.
Jason, you and Billy on that? Jason, Josh,
Yes,
and Billy Trotter.
Yes, sir. I'll give you a little bit of backstory. Historically, the city of Cleveland never had a permitting process for utility companies. We had, I can't even remember the job now, a contractor was boring a line in the same location where we had a proposed storm drain go. We stopped them, we dug down this rabbit hole, and there's never been a requirement. So the permit is pretty light. It's mainly focused on location and to ensure that they're not proposing a new line in a conflicting location of some other planned project. So, but I love the idea. I think you are on something. I will get what we have with Billy and we can beef it up to include a lot of these, issues that we're seeing.
Yeah, I would want to.
It wouldn't hurt to talk to engineer for Greenwood, whoever that
Yes,
is.
sir. I'll give him a call.
Thank you.
Here, you through now?
I'm done.
Fine.
The good thing about sitting on this end of the table is everybody talks about anything I want to talk about. So
Okay.
other than executive session. But,
Okay.
Just one thing, thank you for the hard work that you CPD. How many of our campus do we have up, old and damaged? How many do we have set aside? Yes. So how many do we have up operating?
We've got 40 downtown.
Okay. Okay. Y'all, the meeting, for the most part, if we went through department heads, it was smooth as silk. And I think the reason that happens is because We have department head meetings. We do communicate a lot, and I'll give credit to Dominic and Michelle, that they have a well-oiled machine going up there. And I certainly appreciate it. Because I don't know that meetings can go and the people can work really hard. Good example, your example about when that storm or tornado, whatever the other day, our folks come there, they work. And when I ask them to do something, I say jump, they say, how do you want me to jump? So I couldn't be any happier with all the department heads and all the work. Is it a perfect world? No, but we're doing the best we can. Okay.
I think I've identified listed, we have a property acquisition,
Right.
Personnel, police personnel.
Yes, okay.
That. We're gonna discuss the part. In the part.
It's personnel.
Yeah, you know, I put a copy of something together, but we're doing community development wise. I don't think we need to discuss it in the executive session. Y'all read it.
I'll make a motion to consider the executive session. Property acquisition part, police personnel.
Second. Right. All in favor, say aye.
No.
Kurt,